Recording? Okay.
Great minds.
Yeah. And tired minds even.
So, any questions or thoughts this morning?
Not yet.
Yep, not yet. They always come.
Okay. Um, so, um, I think I'm going to watch you this morning. So, if you get up and do the 8 gates.
Okay.
And really try to keep everything moving and coordinated.
You see me well?
Yep. Okay. So any questions there?
Um, I thought my elbows were moving fairly well during the movements, but somehow they became static as I moved from posture to posture.
Uh-huh. It's a little little hard for me to see on Zoom, I must say,
Mm.
but um, I, you're absolutely right. There was much more and better consistent movement of your elbows than I have seen previously, I think. The one thing I would say is to remember that you do want to have those elbow movements be circular, and
Okay,
that's the hard part.
yeah,
You can get the bend and extend of them without too much difficulty, but finding that circularity in the movement is sometimes a little tricky. Um, the other thing I would say, actually, for both of you, is to keep remembering that ideally, and obviously you can't do it in every position, but ideally the elbow always points not more than 45 degrees away from vertical. In other words, you would like it always to be aimed towards the earth. Obviously, um, Dewey becomes the really difficult one, and here you really have to make sure you keep the elbow angle down. You're not going to get to 45 degrees because it's just not possible in that particular movement. But also you don't want to be here. So
Oh,
you need to let them drop, which you will feel how it releases the shoulders.
mm,
And and also remember, we're not bringing the hands clear into the middle at any point in this particular piece. So um, um, I'd like you to flow up through wave hands.
okay.
Okay. So, questions? Did you feel you did pretty well?
I think I did better than last week.
All right. That's a start. Um,
Obviously, I tried to slow up, but maybe some more, huh?
yes. Yeah, because you kept having to rush um, the hands to catch up with the legs in the postures.
Okay.
Um, and I did feel that both of you failed to keep the ball rotating in wave hands. And remember that part of that, as I talked about it last week, is not rotating too far by the point at which you step with the left, so you still have in that large movement time to rotate the ball out and rotate it back and go to the other side, keeping it rotating out and rotating in. And when you get to that point of the step, remember that you want to be here, not here. Because that little bit of rotation here just gives you what you need to keep this going all the way through. Um, the other thing I wanted to mention is not to forget that the hands are also bending and extending. Um, for instance, I guess one of the places that I noticed that was when you got to pull down, the hands were already extended. At this point, everything is bent, so that as you pull down, everything can extend. And that bend and extend has to continue continuously through everything. But that was one of the places where it was clearest to see. So and I guess what I'd like is for you to just to go back to single whip and do from there through wave hands again.
Okay. Um, are my hands too close together during wave hands? Does the ball need to be a little bigger? Or isn't that a factor?
The size is really what feels right to you. That's not a.
Okay.
What's important is that it does get bigger and smaller
Okay.
and rotate continuously.
Yes.
So you're absolutely right, Bill. Try to slow down a bit and give yourself time to let the arms follow and not lead. Okay. So one of the things is both of you are shifting too far forward on that right knee as you go into shoulder and white goose. You're putting strain on that knee every time you do that. So you have to make that shift forward more subtle. It needs to be continuous, but it has to be more subtle. Um, and that's for Jeff, for you, that's been a continual issue.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, the other thing is that Bill, I feel like you didn't catch what I was saying about the rotation of the ball. Um, Jeff's doing a little bit better, but there is still a tendency to get stuck. And that's the tricky part of this, and believe me, it's really just a matter of practice, but um, the two circles are not the same. Just, let's see, sorry. Let me- Okay. So the circle to the left, you don't want the arms here at the moment that you step. You want the arms here so that you have time as you rotate and shift to go all the way out and then come all the way back. And the second side, you do come to here because it's not the same movement. It's the same circle, but because you're not stepping, it's a much smaller circle and you don't need the extra time. So when you come out of the circle to the right, you have to make sure that you don't go to here again in the center. So the two are different. The one to the left goes from here out and back. This one goes out to here and back to here so that you can go into the other side. Um, it- is that clear? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think so. So I assume my problem occurs in the center, in the middle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And that I have my hands parallel.
Yeah. And what happens is, particularly going to the left, your arms get stuck.
Okay.
You get to a point where they are not rotating the sphere.
Okay.
And the sphere needs to rotate continuously through those movements. Um, any question about that?
No.
It's again, there's a lot of subtlety in that you have to really pay attention to the speed and coordination of your arms and your body. So it's one of those things that you just have to practice till you get the get that continuous coordination and rotation into every movement of that um, of that of those spheres.
Right.
Okay.
I'm, I was trying to, as you just mentioned, I was trying to work my fingers into it as well this time, which I hadn't really paid attention to in the past.
Yep.
I'm trying to do that now throughout, so that's an added an added thing to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's um, even just thinking about bending and extending here.
Hmm.
Uh, finding all of the bending from the fingertips to the spine is a lot.
Yeah,
There's a lot going on, and very often we get stuck just in the elbow or in the hand, and particularly um, from the elbow on back, we tend to sometimes lose it.
right.
So this is tricky.
Yeah, wave hands in particular, just because it's, for me anyways, it's the toughest posture to try and get a real innate feel for. So trying to do that all on wave hands is like the toughest test of all of that.
Yep, absolutely, because it's everything is happening in those movements.
Right.
Eventually, we have to. There are a lot of other parts to add in here. I mean, that's bending
Yeah.
and extending is simply one part, but of course, in thinking about rotating the ball, we're actually certainly looking at twisting in here too. But
Mm.
there's more to it than just simply rotating the sphere.
Yeah.
Um, so, um, what comes next? What happens after wave hands? Another single whip, right?
Yes.
And lift hand
Yeah.
and high pat the horse. So this single whip is the one that I refer to as the shorter one. not not a whole lot, but as we make this rotation, as you come back, you're turning past straight ahead again a little bit with that right foot. And then you're going to make a little curve here in towards you so that you don't go boom, boom, but you get the rounded corner. You bend in and extend out. And again, that next bend in is the reset of the left foot, and then complete your single whip. So it's it's not hugely shorter, but it's a just a trifle bit shorter than the first one. So we come out of this, go in to single whip, and then we go to lift hands, and it starts just as it did before pull down. We shift, rotate, and touch, and then we continue step. And you're bending all the way through to that point. And then as you rotate right and shift forward, everything is extending. And then
Shift back.
yep, we're sitting back, and the two hands are separating, bending in as you rotate that right leg, and then they're both extending as you go up into the posture.
So they're bending in for the whole shift back and the rotation until you get to the point where you separate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So you're bending. Trying to remember which one I'm doing here. Okay. You're bending all the way in and then going all the way up
Right.
and out. Okay.
Yep.
So why don't you just do one of wave hands and then go into those. So did that bring up questions?
Um, yeah, for some reason I'm a little fuzzy now on the transition into single whip on this one. It's feeling different all of a sudden. Shift in, out,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Then draw in all this way and extend.
Yep.
Okay. And then this is all bend to here and extend.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, I guess I'm okay with it then.
Bill?
Yes, clearly I'm in the middle of some kind of road from this being a sequence of postures to building in the bending and the stretching and the, everything else.
Yeah.
So sometimes it seems to work and sometimes not.
Well, if you're clear about where you want to go, then you could practice. if
Yeah.
if you're not clear, that makes it hard.
Yep.
So I just want to make sure you're clear about what you were trying to do.
Yes, I think I am. Yep.
Okay. So after that, I keep wanting to do that, don't I? So we get to there, and now we're going to go into subdue tiger. And this is in talking of bending and stretching, this is a little tricky in that obviously we are extended here, and then the bend as we come down and in, and then the extend, and here the extend, clearly the hands are not going out because we're going into fists, and they're soft fists, they're not clenched tight. But the extension really here, I mean the extend here really is from the scapula. So the extension is here from the back out through the elbows and into the hands. So that's where that is. And then of course we're bending in and extend on the kick and the strike. So
All right, so here's a quick question.
yep,
On the kick and the strike, they're not simultaneous, right? The kick is just a little bit before it.
ideally yes.
All right. Well, that would mean that the kick is starting to bend back in while the arm is still extending.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that if I was doing that, I wasn't doing it incorrectly.
Nope, that's right.
Okay. I hadn't really thought about it up until this moment, but that's kind of tricky, you know,
Yes, it is.
starting to bend in while you're still extending here, and because they're so very close together, but as you've been saying, they are a little bit separate. So,
Yep. Ideally there is just that bit of syncopation,
right,
kick strike.
right, okay, all right,
And then right into bending and extending into the opposite.
okay. It's a bit tricky.
Just a little. So go back to single whip again, the first single whip, and see if you can tie all of this in.
First single whip.
But think about the bending and stretching as you're doing it.
The first single whip and then through wave hands and everything?
Yep.
Okay.
So the tricky part about the strike is that only the hand going out in the direction that the foot went is actually striking. The other one is just balancing. So the striking hand is a yang blade, the balancing hand is open fingered.
With that.
Okay, and does it move?
Yes. Yep. Just as there is always ideally energy going both forward and back, the arms in this case are going forward and back to help balance your movement. Yep.
So what is the reason, energetically or otherwise, that the hand that goes back does not stay together, but it separates?
Um, it's not a striking hand. The forward one is a blade,
Right,
deliberate.
right. That I understand, but why does it matter either way for the hand that's not striking?
Um, because it's not a striking hand, it's just a continuing um, bending and stretching and twisting Tai Chi hand.
Okay,
Just doesn't change.
okay,
It doesn't change in terms of becoming a blade or a fist.
right, okay. I think my problem is I already had them both as blades when they were here.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying, well, why am I separating? Because I
So
already put
when they come into the center, they are both
separate.
separate and bent.
Right, all right. That was my problem. I
Yeah.
was ahead of myself in getting them both into blades by that point.
No, they're just they're in their bending stage and then they're going out.
Okay. We're bending all the way up to here.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I,
Correct.
I may have been starting my extending a little bit soon.
Yep.
Yeah, that answers it. All right, thanks.
Do you have a question, Bill?
No, no.
Um, so um, let's go through that a couple of times. I'll do it with you.
Okay.
Just from the beginning up to that point.
Okay.
Um, and then I'll probably look at it again. But let's do it together at least a couple of times. So begin Tai Chi. So spiraling down into the right, stepping left, Hung, Ji, Liu, An, turning, bending in, pung, G, lu, on, step, bending in, extending out, bending in, extending out, bending, extending. Just rotate and bend in, shift and extend out, draw in, step to the corner, rotate to shoulder, rotate towards the corner, white goose spreads its wings, lu, follow, focus, step around, bending in, and then up, turn, bending in, extending out, bending in, extending out, bending in, extending out, bending in, extending out, in, out, in, out, in, out, reset, single whip, bending in, extending out, 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 bending in, extending out. Again. In Tai Chi, bending in, extending, bend, extend, bend, extend, bending in, extending out, bending in, extend, bend, extend, bend, extend, bend and reset and extend, bend and extend, bend and extend, bend, 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 extend. Oh. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. One at a time. I guess Jeff's going. That was pretty good. Do you have any questions in there?
No, nothing specific. Any feedback on wave hands?
Um, Wave hands is it's developing. It
Okay,
it felt like you were on the right track.
okay, good.
Um, the one thing I would say um, is in grasping Sparrow's tail.
Yeah,
Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna do this, and I think maybe if I do it sideways here, maybe you can see what I'm trying to say. So,
okay,
uh, this is what I feel like I'm seeing you doing. What we've talked about wanting to have happen is not have the hands lead, but
okay,
elbows and scapula pushing the fingertips up
right,
so that when they come up, it's it's this coming from the back, not the hands leading up.
okay. Yeah, I am inconsistent with that for sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
that one stuck out to me.
okay,
It otherwise it felt like you were doing pretty well about beginning to work it in, except getting your hands to be a consistent part.
right,
They get stuck in extension.
yes. But less than they have in the past. In the
Yeah.
past, they almost always stuck in extension.
I'll,
So,
I'll give you I'll give you that.
okay,
Um, and also, you were a little better on the knee going into White Goose.
okay, good.
Bill?
Okay.
Good. Um, so wave hands and the kicks were both better, definitely. Um, I, the the well, actually, a comment let me make to both you and Jeff is remember that the Western translation of cow is shoulder stroke, but the literal translation is bump. So don't emphasize shoulder or elbow in doing that. Think of using your body to make that movement. Um, it's unfortunate in a way that the Western translation has gotten to be shoulder stroke, and we're stuck with that because you could be striking with any part of the body. It might be the shoulder, but it might not be too. So don't separate the shoulder and the elbow out from the body. Move the whole body into it.
Okay.
Let's see, the one that oh, um, it looked to me like you were not really clear on lift hand. Um, do you feel you're clear there?
Um, yeah, I mean, I hadn't thought of it as a problem, so, you know,
Okay. Um, well, let me just
which doesn't mean much.
let me go over that again.
Okay,
It's a little the movement is a the arms particularly is a little tricky
okay.
in there. Um, so we shift the weight and sit on that left foot, and then we're we're going to actually circle the hip pretty subtly back and then forward to bring that palm up for that push were we to do it. That touch is just a brush, really. The foot touches, but immediately steps out and forward for a bow stance. And notice that the arms are starting to move with that. So we shift, the two arms start to come in, continue bending, and at this point the two hands are in front of the sidelines of the body, and the thumbs are almost overlapping, and hands and everything is bent. And as you rotate and shift forward, they're extending, and the arms are, your feet right, David. The arms are separating this way. So one is going forward and up a little, the other one is pulling back and down. So the extension here is this direction, which is a little, may seem a little weird. So let me do that sideways again. So we shift, we touch, step, and extend. You want to try that, Bill?
Sure.
Yes, I feel like you're rushing again.
I was waving this thing around.
Yeah,
David, when we separate, are the thumbs kind of staying a little bit overlapped or is the arms separating
yeah,
more?
they stay a little overlapped.
Yeah, I've been separating my arms more. I
They
just,
don't go out to the side, no.
Well, I certainly hadn't been bringing my right hand back, so that's going to require some practice.
Yeah,
Let's come back some more. It comes back to the hip.
comes back toward it. It stops probably a fist width away.
Okay.
So the elbow has to go out a little as you're obviously doing that. The right elbow. Bill, uh, the first movement here has to be a shift onto the right, left foot 100%, so that you can circle the right foot around your opponent's foot, which is in the middle of your feet. Yeah. So that's coming, Bill. Let's see,
I know my left hand is still moving too far to the outside.
yeah. Um,
I think since I know that I could stop it, but
Not always. So just to break this down at the moment, you're in single whip. There is the shift, the rotate and touch, and both arms have bent at that point. This comes in, and then you step for the bow stance, turning left, and both arms bend even further in, and then you go forward into the arm break, actually. So um, that's one to work on a little bit.
I'll be watching that snippet of the video a lot.
Good thing I'm doing the video. So, um, other any other questions at the moment?
nope.
Yep, plenty to work on.
Okay, good. Do you have a little boy yet?
They hit Orlando Airport about 5 p.m. tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay.
They're in the hotel in Melbourne right now near the airport, and their flight leaves at 9:30 a.m. Melbourne time, which is 7:30 p.m. tonight, our time.
Ah,
So very close.
great.
Very close in terms of time, but still half a world away.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Almost here.
Well, don't hold your breath all the way.
I'm very excited. I can't wait.
I
It's been a
know.
fun time.
That's great.
Yep.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. See
Okay,
you.
guys. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Right. Practice, practice, practice.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Take care.
Okay, thank you. See you.
See you next week.